Hi, my name is Alvin Ngatsami and I head up all of the social media at Break. So if you've ever DM'd us on Instagram, that would be me. So today, social media 2020 and beyond. Today, you'll hopefully be going away with some easy wins to maximize that reach and engagement. Now, reach and engagement is something you're going to be hearing a lot about and probably in the future as well. So let's just run through what those are. So reach is the amount of people that see your posts, see your content, okay? So it's a metric that we use to measure success in social media, and it's a metric that a lot of the networks will provide you with. Now, engagement is basically the total number of interactions that people have with your brand on social media. So we're talking reactions, likes, comments, replies, shares, but also views, amount of time someone's viewed your items. So today's session is useful for you if you're starting from scratch, or you've already started and you just want to improve in a few areas, or you really want to get that engagement boost. And if you think that you're doing okay, you don't necessarily need this session, then it's probably why you need it the most, because you should always keep things fresh and always switch things up when it comes to social media. So stick around. Now at the end of the session, there'll be a Q&A and I'll be available to answer some of your questions. So throughout the session, if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A box and then we'll come to them at the end. Wow, what a year it has been. We've all gone through so many things this year that we could never have predicted we've gone through, and social media has gone through the same. It has dramatically changed. The space is no longer the same. And even in the last few years, the space has been changing. The way people use social media has changed. The way businesses are talking to their audiences has changed. So now is the time for you to really figure out how you want to be speaking to your audiences on social media. You know, businesses are no longer using these old school marketing ways of speaking to their audiences. I think people are starting to realize that with social media, you're speaking to people. It is the face-to-face of online communications. And the more you come to terms with that, the more likely you're going to engage your audiences and connect with them. So we've got these stats on the screen, and these stats really do give you an overview of where social media is today, and also just kind of like why you should be doing it even more. 3.5 billion social media users across the world. On average, 3 hours per day, average person is spending on social media. Now that is the average. I reckon so people spend so much more. I mean, if you saw my stats, you'd be traumatized by it. If there is any justification for why you should be using social media, these stats are the ones. 73% of businesses believe social media has been very effective for their business. 54% of browsers use social media to research products. People are on Instagram, on Facebook, looking before they go to a restaurant. Before I go to a restaurant, I go to Instagram first. I look at what's been posted. That's what people are doing now. 71% of consumers who have positive experiences with a brand on social media are most likely to recommend to their friends and family. Now, I think that's a really important stat right there. I think that clearly demonstrates the importance of having those connections with your audiences, those real life engaging connections. So right here we have, I would say, the social media trends of 2020 and beyond, the ones that are doing strong and still doing strong and probably will still be doing strong in the next few years. So let's just run through them a little bit. Meaningful connections. So this is where the game has changed a lot. Previously, businesses were kind of just doing what they would normally do in other marketing channels on social media. Now it's all about community building. It's all about those niche communities where you build those strong connections with and having those engaged users coming to your social media and engaging with you. And that is the power right there. That is where you can drive those sales, you can drive the engagement higher, you can drive your awareness higher, just your general brand awareness. It's no longer using the same language that you would use in a marketing email. It's now you speaking to people on social media like as if you're speaking to someone face to face. You know, speak their language, get engaged with them, build those tight-knit communities so that you can ensure that constant engagement from your audiences. The more they engage with your content, the more likely they're going to see your content, and the more likely they see your content, the most likely they're going to share your content, and therefore your brand awareness increases, and then you're a success on social media. So yes, meaningful connections, so important. I'm sure we've all been on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and seen ads pop up. Now, ads are super powerful, right? Very successful. And Facebook and Instagram are developing constantly these great new dynamic ways for you to reach your target audience. So if you do have the budget and you have the resources, I would definitely recommend looking into doing some Facebook ads and Instagram ads. You know, it's not too hard to do, and you can definitely learn through the platform itself. It's a great way for you to get your product right in front of your target audience. You know, influencers, a term I'm sure you've all heard before. It's widely used these days. And what is an influencer? An influencer is just someone on social media who has a particular influence, and that influence is historically based on their followers and the number of likes they get. But, you know, the game has shifted, and now we're looking at nano influencers. And who are they? They are niche influencers who have between 1,000 to 10,000 followers, who have a really small but engaged audience. So what they talk about is something quite niche. So whether that's vegan, or whether that's a particular, they're talking about a particular area. So, you know, if you're in a particular town and you want to go for it, someone who talks about the fun stuff that happens in that town, that's where you would go to, and they're most likely to be a nano influencer. It's so much easier to work with nano influencers. They're cheaper. Just super keen to talk about products because that they're interested in, that their niche is about. So it's not so irrelevant for them to be talking about certain things. There's lots of different ways you can approach them. One of the best ways to find them is to look at location tags. So if your business is in a particular area, look at the location tags on Instagram. So just type in the location in the search bar and then find who's tagged their pictures in that location. And as you go through, you can start figuring out based on their followers and the engagement they get from their posts, you know, who would be a good influencer for your brand. Although the game of influencers has changed, it is still very relevant. 49% of consumers say they've bought products based on an influencer on Instagram. So that is huge. So I couldn't recommend it more. My personal recommendation when it comes to influencers is go after an influencer who doesn't consider themselves an influencer. That's your key. That's your sweet spot. Stories. Stories are so big right now. They get so many views. I think on Instagram, 500 million users using stories on Instagram at the moment. There's lots of fun ways you can use social media stories. It's a great way to bring your brand to life. You know, give it some personality and just have some fun with it. It's a great way to have some fun. You're not restricted by whatever guidelines and rules you have for your own grid where you post stuff. And you can just have some fun with stories. Video is so powerful right now. It is huge. The amount of people who are spending hours watching videos on social media has increased dramatically. You know, with IGTV and Facebook Watch, people are spending long times watching long videos on social. They have on these channels, and IGTV are constantly working and developing more ways for you to upload videos. So I mean, it's definitely, video is something you should consider. It does, when you talk about video, it does seem scary because it's just, everyone thinks it's hard and it's like so much, you need to put so much time into it. But you know, I've created videos on my phone. All you need is a smartphone. So I can't really talk about 2020 trends and not talk about TikTok. Love it. Honestly, so many people are just like, I just don't understand what it is. Go on there, spend a few minutes, a few hours on there. Trust me, it's easy to spend a few hours on TikTok. You'll get it. It's fun. It's light. It's easy. TikTok is probably something that if you're just starting out, you're probably just like, it's just not for us. Fine. But if you have some time and you have a particular area that you think would do well on there, once you've spent some time and figured out how it all works, look, it's pretty easy, to be honest. All you got to do is have a little bit of a concept. And look, if you're creating a dish, if one of your chefs is creating a dish, film a bunch of videos, put them together, and bang, you've put it out there with some fun music. And it's just bringing your brand to life. It's bringing your business to life. And it's on TikTok, and it could go viral. If it does go viral, your Instagram account is connected, people will check you out, people will save it. If it's something that's super delicious, people will find out where it comes from and they will find you. And it's just a great way to get some brand awareness and get your name out there. So if you have some time, do it. And the last but not least, user-generated content. What is this? This is content created by your users, by your product users. So if you're a restaurant, it's people posting images at your venue or of your food. If you're a cafe, the same. So it's all about encouraging your audiences to send you user-generated content, to post user-generated content. It's all about engaging with it. You start a hashtag that people can use to post the products that they get from your place. And it's an easy stream of content for your own brand. If you encourage user-generated content from your audiences, you will see huge results because people are 16 times more likely to read a post from a person than a brand. So if you've got people out there posting about your brand just because they loved the dish that they had, or they were at your venue and they love your venue and they took a picture, then that's amazing. That is brand awareness. Where to begin? Look, like any business venture, any business decision, you always have an aim, a goal. Why are you doing social media? Figure that out and the rest will become very easy, right? So what is it you want to achieve? What are your goals? Is it brand awareness? Is it engagement with your brand? Is it creating a community? Is it direct sales? Do you want reservation bookings? These are all goals that you can have in place that will determine how you go about posting on social media. So now you have your goals, let's decide what platforms you're going to use. There are the obvious ones: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, but some businesses work really well on Pinterest. Some businesses work really well on Snapchat. A lot of people who aren't well versed in social media are always like, this is dead, that's dead, nothing's dead. All of these social media platforms have increased in the last year, okay? Every platform has its community, has its way of speaking, and it does well in those particular areas. Now, once you do your goals, you figure out who your audience is, who your target audience is, and then you figure out what platform is best for you to use. Now, if this is very overwhelming for you and you have no idea where to go, my recommendation is start with a Facebook and an Instagram and go from there. Look, we're all busy right now, and you guys must be so busy because you're running a business. So don't worry about all these different social media accounts, okay? The most important thing is that you find out what account is best for you right now. Right now, where you should be spending your valuable time, and start with that. And have a play around. See what works for you. If you try Twitter and it doesn't work, fine. Let it go, come back to it if you need to. And and the same goes for content. Try different types of content. Experiment. Trial and error. Your time is valuable. And I always say this, you're better off spending time creating 5 pieces of quality content than 20 pieces of bad content. That doesn't get you anywhere. Measuring success. Look, just like any business decision or any business venture you're on, you need to measure how it's doing in order to know if it's a success and what you can do to change it. And social media is exactly the same. And now you need to decide what you're going to track. Is it going to be engagement? Is it going to be impressions? There's so much more than just likes. There's replies, there's saved, there's impressions, there's reach, there's number of followers, there's just lots of things that can determine how well you're doing on social media. And it is so important for you to figure out what is going wrong and what can you change, because there's no point you continuing to do the wrong thing. There's just no point. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of your time. If you posted a burger post, right, and you don't know what's wrong, have a think about it. So is it the lighting? Lighting can change how anyone perceives anything. Lighting can change so much. Is it because the burger's out of focus? Is that bad quality image? Never use a bad quality image, please. Just because something is working now doesn't mean it is going to stay that way. So if it's working well now, do it, but vary it. Okay, keep it fresh, keep it different. Most of the time when something's going well, that's when you need to switch the game and change again. Okay, because that's how social media is. People disengage very quickly, and if they disengage, then they stop seeing your posts. COVID and lockdown. Wow. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in terms of the change that we saw in our own social media was incredible. It is so important that during lockdown that you are keeping in touch with your audiences. It's a great way for you to build connections, maintain those existing relationships that you've created in the past. But just be wary of the language. The biggest shift we noticed in social media throughout COVID and lockdown, and it has continued, is this huge shift in the way people are speaking on social media and in the way businesses are speaking on social media. So take breaks, for example. We instantly switched the way we spoke completely. So we went to a supportive community spirit tone of voice where, you know, we were talking about our colleagues and the things we were doing to help the community, and that's really worked. And people want honesty and realness, and we're all going through this together. So it's so important that we are talking about the elephant in the room, because people want to know about it. People are interested. It's happening to them, therefore they want to see it. How it's happening to you. Companies that didn't make this switch, you know, haven't done well on social media throughout. And I mean, the numbers that Breaks alone experience since then have been phenomenal. Insane increases in engagement and followers across the board. You need to be sensitive. You need to be respectful. You need to be empathetic to the situation that we're all in. And by doing that, you get that in return, and you'll get that tenfold in return. And that's what we've seen. We've seen huge increases in engagement, huge increases in followership, because we match the tone of voice of the nation. And that's so important. So what can you do during lockdown to keep your audiences engaged? Keep your audiences informed. Let them know what's going on. Be real, be honest, be open, okay? Because you will get that in return, and you come across more personable, more empathetic, and you will get those returns back from your audience. Tell your story. Stop pretending that everything is okay, because it's not, and we're all in this situation together. So let's get out there and tell that story. What is your COVID story? Tell that. You know, keep them up to date with opening schedules and changes to service. Keep them informed. Let them know what you're doing. Keep yourself in their minds, and include them in the decision-making process. Are you thinking of a new service? Are you thinking of takeaway? Put a story up. Ask them a question. Do a little poll. Safety is another big one, you know, where it's scary out there. We all have the same concerns, the same level of anxiety in regards to safety. So make them aware of all the steps you are taking to keep your staff safe and to keep customers safe as well. Be creative. There's so many things you can do on social media to kind of engage audiences. So you can do polls, you can do games. You know, if you're a pub, let's do a pub quiz, you know, and pub quizzes can be complicated, but, you know, we can, you can just do it on the story. Do it every week. Every Thursday is pub quiz night at the pub. It kind of brings it all back to life for them and brings them back into those nice memories of what life used to be like before COVID. Give them something to do. You know, is there something they can create? Can you get a recipe from one of your chefs and put it out on social media and get them to create it and tag you? Could that come with a prize? And then we come to the next one, competitions. What can they win? Can they win a free takeaway? Can they win a discount code for later on? The best thing with the cooking competition is that, you know, you can make it into a competition. They have to post their image on Instagram and tag you, okay? Now imagine 10 people take part. That's 10 different news feeds you are tagged in. Okay, now imagine it was 100. Positive vibes. Love this one. So we're all going through a tough time and we all just kind of need that motivation, right? Is there a positive story you can tell? Is there something amazing that one of your staff members did for a member of public? Are you doing any community service? Is there a nice positive quote that you saw out there? Now, don't overdo it with the quotes. You don't want to become a cheesy quote account. But, you know, is there something you can share every Monday for motivation? And if you don't want it on your grid, which is your main page, you can have it on your stories. You know, it's just great to be like, happy Monday, guys. Let's take this week by storm. It's just a nice message to go to your audiences. So be positive. The future. Remind people that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's a nice message to just kind of remind people that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We will get through this. So here, you know, here's a discount code for when we open up normally. If you're closed right now, here's a discount code. Can you do a competition that you win a discount code for when it opens up next time? And brand awareness. There's no harm in continuing to build awareness around your brand. You know, talk about the things you're working on. Talk about the things you're going to work on in the future. Is there a new dish that you're trying out? Is there some menu development you're working with the staff on? Let's go behind the scenes and show that off. And another good one to build awareness is throwbacks and flashbacks. Obviously, just be sensitive about what you're flashbacking to and make sure it's just relevant to the world we live in right now. Quick wins. I'm sure this is the slide everyone's been waiting for, so hopefully I do it justice. Quick wins. This is all about what you can do right now that I would guarantee would change the way audiences engage with you. I probably shouldn't have said guaranteed, but I'm hoping. 90% sure. Right, so let's get into it. First easy win, using insights to drive your strategy. And more importantly, your content strategy. So this is a bit of a boring one, but it's a very, very important one. So it's using the insights you get to figure out what is working content-wise and what isn't, and what you need to change. And that is so important in order for you to maintain that engagement and that success for your social media. What is good content? Tasty, educational, interesting, wow. Thought-provoking. Those are all examples of good content. Think about that when you are creating content. And also, we'll move on to the next point, is put yourself in your audience's shoes, right? When you scroll Instagram, if you do, or ask one of your staff members who scroll Instagram, what do you look for? What makes you stop? And put yourself in your audience's shoes. And that's always a great way to make you understand how people scroll Instagram, okay? And a very important thing that I've always said is think about the frame of mind someone is in when they're scrolling Instagram, right? They're waiting for the bus. They're waiting for a train. They're at home after dinner, bored on the sofa, scrolling, right? They're bored. And think about the frame of mind. It's normally they're taking a break from their day-to-day, or it's after work and they're in their own time. So just keep that in mind in terms of how you're speaking to them, how you're engaging with them. You know, if you use quite corporate language or quite business language, you're probably not going to engage them because that's not the frame of mind they're in right now as they scroll. You know, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Shareable content. Shareable content is what you want to aim for. That's the goal there. You've created content that is shared wide because it's so great or it's so tasty. It's something that everyone wants to send to all their friends. It's why memes are so successful, because memes are so funny or so relevant or so relatable that people share it everywhere. They share it on their story, they share it on their grid, they share it to all the different groups they are in direct messages. So that's really important, to focus on creating shareable content. That should definitely be included in your strategy. So obviously there are posts that you just need to get out and you want to make them as engaging as possible, like a new product or something like that. But then you should also be focusing on creating shareable captions. I always say this, and it's true, captions drive engagement, okay? People read captions. Make it fun, make it creative, make it engaging, make it relevant, make it emotional. Put as much thought into your caption as you would your asset. Asset meaning image, video, etc. That is so important. And so many times people will stop scrolling just because of a caption. And do not be afraid to make it too long, because people are spending time reading long captions. Fact. Best time to post. Probably the question I'm asked the most as a social media manager. It's a myth. No, it's not really a myth. It used to be quite relevant, but now social media networks do not show posts chronologically. They vary it. So maybe stick to the 9 to 5 is always a good thing for Twitter. Instagram morning is great, lunchtime is great, evening is great. But there's also a likelihood that your post won't be shown chronologically either, because there's also top post. So posts that are performing really well will go higher up, and yours won't be there chronologically. So don't pay too much time to time. Memes, love memes, can't get enough of them. Memes are great, okay? They are the ultimate shareable content, and create some memes about yourself. Make fun of yourself. That is the most important thing. People love it when people make fun of themselves. They laugh with you, they're engaged with you. So make fun of yourself, create memes. And if you're finding it hard to create memes, follow some meme accounts and get some inspiration from them. And, and create something that's relatable to your business, to your industry. Special offers, that's just an obvious one. You have to do them. People are really interested in that sort of content. If there's a special offer, people want to know about it, so let them know about it. User-generated content, I've spoken about it before, so important. It has to be part of your strategy. It has to be something you're thinking about, how to get that content from your users and leverage it into how you do social media. Competitions is just a no-brainer for me. There's lots of different ways you can do it. You can offer your product, you can collaborate with a local business, collaborate with a supplier. There's lots of different ways you can do prizes online. Do not underestimate people's need for free stuff. They love it and they will go crazy for it. BTS, behind the scenes. This is great. This adds a great personal touch to your brand. It makes you more personable, more approachable, brings everything to life. And it's just, there's so many ways you can do a BTS, put it on the stories, create highlights, create a post, do a fun one. You can create a TikTok behind the scenes. There's just so many different ways you can do it, and honestly, you'll get so much great engagement from it. People want to know what's going on behind the scenes. People are nosy and they want to know. Hashtags, amazing, use them. Do not be shy to use them. It's useful and they do bring results in, okay? Now, you should have a hashtag strategy. That's probably too much of a big term, but you should be thinking, what hashtags is good for me? Some hashtags perform really well, but the problem is they're very saturated, so I wouldn't focus on just those ones. Definitely use them, but also think of some niche ones as well. So, for example, if you're a business in London, you can use London food, but also use the area you're in. So if you're in Hackney or in Shoreditch, use those hashtags as well, just to ensure that you're getting a relevant stream of engagement, but also making sure that you're not being overshadowed by other posts on that hashtag. But show off your product, show off the food. Food performs so well on social media, so do it well. High quality images, tasty, sexy looking images. That's what we want to aim for. Those perform incredibly. They do the job for you. They're very shareable and people want to see it. People are hungry all the time. Do's and don'ts. So don't replicate your content on all the different channels. It gets very repetitive. You might have the same followers on all the different accounts. So if you can't vary the content, then vary your caption. Let your caption drive. So like I mentioned before, don't be afraid of long captions. People are spending more time reading captions. It tells a story and people are willing to read about it. Don't use copyrighted music. Instagram and Facebook will just block it off your video. So please don't post a bad quality image or video. It's just not worth it. Just don't do it. You're better off not doing it. Trust me. Always try and find a good quality image. Okay, there's lots of different tips. Lighting is so important. Press the focus button on your camera. Get a good smartphone. For your own good and for social media, just get a good smartphone. And you know what? If you're struggling to get some images, go out to your staff. They all have smartphones and get them to take the pictures. Okay, so this is my pet peeve. Don't post a screenshot if you're not going to crop the rest out. Okay, please. Don't make spelling or grammar mistakes. That's just a given. Don't let any trolls get you down. Now, trolls are the worst. They exist. They are keyboard warriors and they exist. You do not need to reply to them. You can delete their comment. That is allowed, okay? Obviously, if it's a customer service inquiry, try and do that differently. With customer service inquiries, the best solution is try to get them to DMs as quick as possible so that you're not publicly discussing the issue they had with your product. And pretty please don't neglect your stories. They need love. Do's. Yay! Reply to every comment. When you reply to a comment, you're engaging with that user. That user is more likely to see your content first. Also, you should reply to the comments within the hour of you posting, because that then pushes your post up to the top, which is the goal. So follow some accounts similar to yours to get some inspiration, and that use the save button on Facebook and Instagram. And on LinkedIn, use the save button and create collections of stuff, inspiration, ideas, and it's not copying, it's inspiration. Okay, really important to make your account a business account. You can do that on Facebook and Instagram in the settings. Quite simple and easy to do that. It comes with a lot of great functionality and insights and all of that, so it's really important you do that. There's a lot of great blogs out there. Social Media Today is really good, really relevant, and I would definitely recommend it. It's just a great read and a great way for you to figure out what are the new trends and how to do certain things. And if you are struggling, there's a lot of blogs out there that can help you figure out how to do something on social media. Always remember, with Googling, someone's asked the question before, and a social media manager definitely has. Look, we're all super busy. Having a posting schedule is really important. It keeps you on top of things in terms of social media. Otherwise, you'll just forget it and it will become a second priority, and it should be one of your priorities. Have some fun. Social media can be so much fun. Creating the content, posting the content, replying to the comments, seeing how it succeeds, it's all part of the magic. So have some fun with it. Vary, vary, vary. Vary everything. Try everything, experiment with everything, keep it fresh, keep it different constantly. Right, so tools and apps and tools. I'm just going to talk about these three. I mean, there's lots, but these are the ones I love. So Splice is an incredible video editing tool. Incredible. And it's not hard. Honestly, I taught myself on it, and once you get used to it and you get used to the little tools and the little functionalities of it, it will change your life, honestly. Hootsuite is a social media management tool. What that is it's a tool that you use to manage your social media. So you can schedule on there, you can add all your accounts on there, you can have like planning views, schedules, calendars. You can also get some different insights on there. So that's really good. I couldn't recommend Canva enough. It is changed my life. It's a great way to create content, create any asset, you know. If you've got a text asset you need to do, it's just great for that. It has so many templates for you, ready for you to use, so you don't have to put in all the hard work, and you can just change the colors, change things. Get a free version. Honestly, it's like $12 a month. If you can afford that, do that. It's great. All you need to do is spend some time learning about it. I've taught so many different people how to use Canva from so many different generations and so many different backgrounds. Everyone can do it. Do it. It will change your life in terms of creating content. And you can use it for so many different things. Emails, PowerPoints, so many things it's great for. Wow, was that really overwhelming? I hope it wasn't, but if it was, here are the few things that I think you should work on right now, and then you can come back to the other things later. So figure out what you want to achieve with social media. That, I keep repeating, is just so important for you to figure out why you're doing social media. Download those recommended apps, 100%. Post once a day at least, but only if you have something. Post once a day at least, but only if you have something quality to post. If you don't post. It's better off you don't post. I mean, my recommendation, if you're struggling with all those different networks, start with Facebook and Instagram. Optimize your pages. What does that mean is fill out everything you need to fill out about your business. Opening times, you know, lots of websites, anything. Facebook has a lot of information you can put in there. Put as much information as you want and get some reviews on your Facebook. You know, speak to your local customers, you know, speak to your regular customers, and if they can leave a review, let's get that on Facebook. But yeah, that's that. As I said, I'll be here. I'll be available now to take some questions. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, excited to see if you have any questions. Thank you.